Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome back again to the International 2017. We're going to be taking a look at our first game of the second day here on the second stream. It's LGD Forever Young, top of the group for them, versus Virtus Pro. Really excited about this matchup. I'm Lyrical, joined as well by Ben Merlini. Woo, my man, how you doing?
Good morning, good morning. It's just a 1 seed versus a 2 seed right now. No biggie.
I'm stoked. I honestly, like, VP was my pick for who's going to take the whole thing overall. LGDFY was one of the teams that was like, I really wanted to watch out for them, and I'm so excited they're here. I think Atfu is spectacular. Obviously, we've seen what Virtus Pro can do. It's going to be a super hype match. In your opinion, like, how much do group stages first day really matter? I mean, do they at all? Is this something that we should be concerned about, these two teams going forward?
Yeah?
Yeah?
Who says group stage doesn't matter?
I don't know. Some people say that. You know, you show up at a tournament, people are like, it doesn't matter, it's group stage.
Who cares about $27 million? It's just chump change, right?
Yeah.
Now, you play your hardest. I think if you're less certain about your team, like if you have poor results or you have weak drafts, I think it's especially important for you because you get a lot more tape on these other people. We haven't seen any of these teams play in a month, or a lot of these teams rather. So I think it matters more for the drafting than for, like, I don't know. There's no reason that you should say that these teams are not trying, because I would doubt that.
Yeah, for sure. And I guess the other thought there is that maybe, like, you know, a lot can change with the meta developing throughout the course of this, and I'm sure that's something that these teams were probably last night looking at what everybody else was doing, trying to figure out if there's any trends developing. Yesterday when we were casting, we saw some Batrider Silencer that ended up working out pretty well for, I think it was DC that ran it. They took a game off of OG as well, but so far VP looking like they want to try and prioritize Sand King first.
I think overall, you might see some heroes here and there that are pretty successful, but I don't think you'll see like any, like, I guess we saw the Pugna strat that was,
right,
I think, widely different than other things that we've seen. But overall, you'll see heroes pop up here and there that you probably wouldn't expect, like Lich in the first phase. Again, by DDC, him and Puppey are pretty much the only two that do it, I believe, in this entire tournament.
Right.
And Lich doesn't really define your strategy, though. Whereas I think the only one that we have seen is like Pugna, I would suppose. We've seen Huskar banned out a few times. These kind of like change your entire strategy overall and change the ways your opponent plays.
Okay. That's something to watch for. Oh man, it's bringing it back, the old school. Isn't this like the classic build that we were seeing forever, a dual offlane of Lich Doom?
Yeah, and it's disgusting.
So, I mean, obviously Doom, a hero that doesn't have a whole heck of a lot of armor on him naturally, even though he looks like very jacked right now in his little player portrait thing. What's the strength of this lane? What's the big issue that you run into with it?
I think that Doom actually needs to run around a lot because you need to eat creeps. Although we do see some Dooms get level 1 in Infernal Blade and run a lane, I think sometimes you'll also see them get Devoured, and you're actually wasting a lot of experience. There's this common philosophy in this patch that you need someone to sit in lanes at all times, just because the creeps are so valuable and the neutrals are relatively invaluable. Wait, invaluable means the same thing as valuable. I hate English.
Not valuable.
They are not valuable. So yeah, you need someone to sit in lane, and Lich kind of fits that. So you can just run around as Doombringer if you need to. And also the way Inflame plays it, he is just a mega tank. Also, you mentioned that he doesn't have much armor, but a lot of the time, the heroes that we've been seeing has just been majority magical damage. Sand King, Silencer have very, very little physical damage, so the low armor does not matter much at all on Doom.
Yeah. Well, and I guess he also has the, you know, frost armor as well eventually once you get into those levels to make it even harder. I mean, is this just like the lane that we're going to be seeing, though? Is it a Lich Doom, or could it also be something along the lines of like Lich kind of rotating between mid, helping out there a little bit as well?
Well, you have to assume that these two are going to be the supports coming out from Virtus Pro. So you're not actually... Usually you want to put Lich in the lane that's going to have the toughest time on your side, or the hero that you want to keep down the most on the opposite side. Like if you're versus AM, you can just park him in the AM's lane and just slow his Battle Fury down by 2 or 3 minutes just by being there. Or if they have a Storm with easy matchup in the mid lane, then you can also screw him over by just eating creeps in the mid. So that's, I guess, one of the nice things about Lich. You don't actually, because there's always going to be someone you need to keep down, right? It's not like, oh yeah, we want all 3 of their lanes to have free fire. I don't need to deny creeps, right?
Yeah.
So he's always going to be mildly useful.
I like that too. It's the double eat creep strat. You eat some of theirs, you eat some of yours. You're just a hungry bunch of guys, LFY. They're hungry for a win.
The buffet strat.
The buffet strat. I love that.
And then next you just need Helmet Dominator. Just get some Enigmas too.
A little bit of Chen action.
Yeah.
If they don't get any creeps, can you imagine if you had Enigma and Lich and the strat was just like go mid, eat the ranged, and then a melee?
People have tried that, and then you just lose.
Okay, so
Because you don't actually do anything on the map. You don't have any people that do anything. And then Tiny can be like the waiter. He can like toss creeps to you, and then you can just eat them.
I love this idea. This is the new strat.
Let's open up a Dota 2 buffet store.
I like that. Third pick coming in now. It's going to be a Tusk, so I mean, to me, this feels like a lot of early roaming potential with the Tusk and the Doom, honestly. A hero that can sometimes leave his lane. I mean, if you're in the offlane role, does he still have that mobility?
If you have Lich there. I mean, offlaners can move a lot, I would say. They're probably the most flexible of all the 3 cores easily in terms of being able to run around. So Doom can kind of be anywhere. I like that he can wrap around mid a lot. We see that pretty commonly, but yeah, you just grab a creep, run around behind mid, tank the tower up, throw a boulder or whatever it may be, whatever spell you have, and then kill the mid laner. Depends on what they have though, so we don't really see. But right now, I think it's going to be difficult for Virtus Pro to tackle these lanes. Like Lich anything is really tough to punish, let's say, because the creep wave is really far back to your tower, and generally you're over leveled as the Lich team. And in the Lich lane, and your allies against the Lich lane are going to be underleveled and underfarmed, and usually pretty low from the Frost Nova harass. So it's actually pretty hard to take advantage of that.
Yeah, this seems like it could be quite tough, and Virtus Pro are going to have to pick up a couple strong ones. A Weaver taken. Now, obviously, we all have seen Lil Weaver. It feels like that would not be a great pick this game. Like they're already running into issues with LGD Forever Young's heroes doing a lot early, and Support Weaver needs some time in the jungle to get some farm up. Do you like this pick most likely for Ramses, or is there anywhere else you could see it getting taken?
Their lockdown's awful on LGD FY,
Yeah.
right? So they have one kind of stun in Snowball, which is very unreliable against Weaver. Secondly, he's a natural Lincoln's carrier, very good versus Doom. And thirdly, he's a natural Diffusal carrier, which is really good against Lich. So I think the item build that Weaver can get this game is also very good. Pretty much the standard build is very good. We see Lincoln's Diffusal, Lance, those sort of items. And also, I think he is fine versus like the Lich Doom lane. You have those heroes that can just get run down in lane, like Sven, for example. If you have a Sven park against that lane, you're just going to get Infernal Blade all the time, every time you come up to creeps, and you get Frost Nova and probably die. Weaver, you don't really have to worry about so much. Either a support or a core in that lane, Weaver is going to be A-okay.
Yeah. Well, and that's the nice part about it, I guess, is...
And the armor, minus armor against Doom, too, if you want to go some more physical damage. Like, if you want a physical damage mid, you want some way to chew through that Frost armor.
Well, and now another answer for dealing out more damage and giving that help around the map. It feels like all of these heroes from LGDFY kind of buff each other or help each other out in some way or form or fashion. You've got like the Lich armor there to make them all tankier. You've got Snowball saves, and now Howl added into the mix. You talk about the Weaver being elusive. I imagine if there's a support sitting in that lane, though, they might not have that same possibility. You could see maybe some dives going on and finding kills. I don't know if that's the way that LFY want to play it, but
clearly they do. They have 2 very tanky strength heroes and a Tusk. So they have we call it a run at you lineup, and run at you lineups are really good versus Silencer, because Silencer just doesn't deal well when he has heroes up in his face all the time. So I'm a little bit worried for the Silencer, and we have seen a lot of first phase Silencers, but I think this is mostly how you deal with it. You don't pick like these intricate lineups where you need to time your skills pulls perfectly. You just have heroes that just need to press one button and then you just run at you. Spirit Breaker, Doom with Scorched Earth, Lycan with his ulti. These heroes don't care about being silenced because they can survive the 3, 4, 5, 6 seconds that you need to in order to do whatever you need to in a team fight before you die.
Yeah. And I mean, like, Doom isn't the worst Guardian Greaves picker-upper either, or like a Lotus Orb on one of these heroes. Certainly feels like it within the wheelhouse to deal with that silence, but very limited time left now for Virtus Pro, a last pick for them, and Drow felt like it could have been quite strong, maybe if they wanted to switch up the lanes a little bit.
I think Drow is a little risky versus Lycan.
Right.
Lycan can just get armlet and just run at Drow the entire time in team fights.
Maybe they're just so confident that's why they banned it out. They don't even care, I guess. But Bloodseeker, actually. All right.
Bloodseeker's been kind of discussed as a Lycan counter. I think Sven is a tried and true Lycan counter, but Bloodseeker seems pretty decent. You can't actually run around as Lycan, which is generally quite bad. But they do have Snowball to give them some little bit of extra mobility, and they're also going to have a lot of auras. Even like Tusk Sigil, I would consider an aura. Tusk Sigil, Doom picks up, like we see Drums, Vlad's, plus the Creep aura, Pack Leader's aura a lot in the Frost armor, so a lot of ways to buff the Lycan in case they do want to all in on him.
I've occasionally seen the Blade Mail Lycan when he gets ruptured and then just run around a bunch and
Yeah, that's awesome.
kill Bloodseeker. We'll have to see. Wait and find out what it is. LFY now. One more pick for themselves. The Run At You lineup. Guess most likely left is a mid at this point.
Yeah, mid versus a puck, it looks like.
Ooh. Super tying it all together with the Medusa. Well, do you think that this is what it takes? It's going to be no one playing the Bloodseeker, actually. So, that matchup, you've got a lot of regen and sustain with the Bloodseeker.
I think you're fine as Bloodseeker. I think you can outlast it, the Medusa very easily. But Super isn't known for winning his lane, so I don't really think it matters that Bloodseeker is a okay matchup for Medusa. Decent matchup, I would say.
So what to you is the big thing that this game depends upon? What are we going to need to watch for to find out who it is that's pulling ahead in this one?
I think usually it's Inflame that makes or break the team.
Okay.
Right, he sometimes just destroys everyone, and sometimes he just feeds nonstop like there's no tomorrow. So I think Lich lanes occasionally, like, if 3 heroes run at bottom a lot and you feed in the Lich lane, you waste the entire hero because you just feeding all the experience away that you already had.
Well, as we get set to start this game and get underway, of course, predictions always wonderful to see those. We're just going to put in a bunch of random numbers.
No one?
No one?
Yeah, play with Muslice at 7. Okay.
Oh, okay. I like that, I like that, I like that. Early movements out. We've got Inflame, actually, who headed up top and was able to place down a ward. Silencer, I don't know if he scouted him out. He's still under the cover of smoke, so it looks like the answer is no. And yeah, it looks like Inflame's actually going to get away with this, at least for the moment. Ramses is walking around up here. If they actually manage to find him right now, Ramses, he spots him out, and Inflame caught out in no man's land. I don't know if they're going to be able to kill him. He's still very tanky. They do have a Burrow Strike, though, and no TP for Inflame, but he does have boots. Burrow Strike comes through. He's still got a lot of HP. Is that something where you just check it out?
Ramsey should be able to test me down.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's dead. And the intel lost. Oh wait, did he get? He didn't get intel. Wow.
So, I guess that they just knew that that was a place to check, or how did they know? Because they didn't see the smoke, I don't think.
I'm not sure. I wasn't.
Yeah.
I was looking at other places on the map.
Well, Insanity. First blood coming up. You said that he can't feed. I mean, it's not necessarily a feed. I think that's a good play if you can manage to find or pull the creep wave pack.
Yeah, it's normally fairly safe. It's just yeah, Doom's also just not the best offlaner. He's tanky, but he can't really escape. And as you mentioned, he has pretty low armor. By low, I mean 0, so no armor.
And he also took the Scorched Earth first, so not going to be able to have the luxury of a creep early on here. But we'll have to wait and see. As you mentioned, the Bloodseeker versus Medusa mid. It looks like Afu's going to come here, as well as Lil being in the area to try and alleviate some of that pressure.
Man, Lich started off bottom, actually. I wonder what his rationale was for starting up bottom. Like, I think, especially with Doom giving up first blood, or at least in a very difficult position at the start, you might want to help him out. But it seems like Pasha has been the focus of a lot of bans in play.
Oh, man. Good snowball play there. He almost ended up going down. No one was obviously had thirst on him and was able to spot him out, but was able to get the snowball away and gets the escape.
Looks like Lil is trying to look for a chicken or something. Medusa already has a salve, so I don't really think Super really cares about this. Lil that's just running around.
I mean, it's a lot of confidence being shown. They know that nobody can come in and really contest this, so yeah, Super having to play a little bit safe there, but he's also not showing that much worry.
So you mentioned Doom struggling a lot. He is not level 2 yet. I guess he can wait for the bounty at least. And he does have an Alpha Wolf creep, so that's kind of nice for him. I wonder if he's going to eat the Alpha Wolf. He might eat the Satyr early, because you're struggling a lot. You're not going to be able to right-click that much. Let's see. Satyr or Doom? Okay, he takes the pack leader. He has no regen left, is what I was suggesting. He might take the Satyr.
Yeah, that aura is always so good. And then, of course, the other nice part is, like, later on, I've seen some people even, like, if they get the Satyr, go for, like, you know, Arcane Boots. As Pasha, in some trouble, is almost going to drop here, and the Snowball Chase is going to connect. Brings him right in.
Nice.
But yeah, occasionally even, like, going for Arcane Boots and then just, like, spamming out the Shockwave onto people. Like, a decent amount of damage.
Yeah, the thing's so mana intensive. Ooh, he did get a ward. On it, Inflame wasn't able to eat an Observer ward, so that's actually pretty important for him.
Nice.
He blocked that big pull too, so Solo can't get away. Being large and in charge.
He's a big guy, for sure. So yeah, like we're talking about, it's just going to be this Doom up here trying to get what he can. Do you feel like it's sort of salvaged the initial bad parts of that lane, the getting himself a stack there, now getting into level 2, or is it still kind of rough?
It's rough. Because I think he has the potential to die like any second.
Well, we'll see if that's indeed going to happen. Inflame taking a lot of damage, but it's going to be able to back out yet again. Puck, likewise, Pasha is not having the best of time. He actually didn't have an orb for a little while. If Tusk was level 2 there, I think that's a kill with shards.
Monet also went for the Orb of Venom. I think we see this sometimes from like safe lane AMs, but not too much on the Lycan. So pretty useful, I would say, versus Puck. Normally Puck will just kite you incessantly.
Right. Yeah, and being able to keep that track of him and, maybe forcing out an orb or what have you could be quite good as well. We were seeing Super here sort of fall behind a huge margin, 28-13 for the Bloodseeker versus 12-2 for Medusa.
It's just really hard to outlast a Bloodseeker with Quelling Blade, and then a Bloodseeker with Quelling Blade and Rage is even harder. Yeah. So, and the thing about Medusa is, like, Medusa doesn't ever threaten kills on no one, so you're not scared about almost constantly blood raging yourself. So you expect this lane to go that way. I would say that's pretty standard for. It's also pretty standard for Super. They don't actually care about his matchup too much because he has that team fight behind him.
I mentioned that Satyr. It is looking like Doom ended up going back for that now with level 3. We have Afu that's rotated in towards mid as well. How many other heroes do they need to find a kill there? Oh no, he's got his bounty rune stolen as well. Solo. A little bit of Grand Theft bounty, and might end up paying for it now. Afu's in the area, does have level 2. They've also brought in DDC. More action coming, though, as Ramses has shown up. He's going to maybe bring down the Lich, so they trade 1 for 1. Shard's not quite on the mark to catch Ramses.
They even dropped the sentry for that. That's a pretty big commitment. Looks like Afu could die here, too.
Yeah, they're wanting to go further. The good bit of damage coming through, and Fairy Fire trying to walk away. The snowball save, but it was a little showed up with the Burrow Strike. So they end up finding the kill nonetheless.
But you see how big a liability Doom is sometimes in the off lane.
Yeah.
And I think it is worth it, though, putting the lift down bottom to slow him down, because Puck is broke right now. He still doesn't have boots. He's working on his Soul Ring, more and more common off lane build Pucks that we see. But Monet's had a fairly easy game. He will be going for Vlad's first. Vlad's first over Mask of Madness and Armlet.
Yeah, a little bit of a different look there.
Yeah, usually Doom picks the Vlads if they want one, so I guess they know Doom's not going to have a good game. Not a good game yet. I mean, then are you thinking maybe he just goes for like an early initiation item, probably, or? I think drums. Okay. Usually, the way you play Doom is you just run in, stop blinks.
Speaking Brian in, chasing down a little bit, but did not want to commit an Infernal Blade for that. Not really a great opportunity for him to find a kill. So 2 to 3 so far. We've had a lot of movement, but not a whole heck of a lot of like really ganking. It feels like it's more oriented towards trying to build a lane advantage. And then Afu playing it solo a little bit. They're coming in with Monet as well. The good block off. And solo, he's just gone.
That was beautiful.
Dive also up top going on as Inflame is going to be ran at, and he ends up falling also. Ramsey's showing the power of the Swarm early on, even just that 1 point in it. Now they're going to be able to cut this creep wave and wait for the next creep wave to come in and probably deal a decent amount of damage to that tier 1.
Inflame. Still no armor. I would like to see maybe a casual ring of prod on him, just so he can maybe tank up a little bit against the Weaver so he can not die again.
Is he really going back down again? They don't have Swarm. They do have Swarm, but they didn't want to use it there. Ramsey's holding off for the moment, and that forces out a decent amount of regen from him.
Yeah. I guess the Vlad also helps with that too. It helps with Doom's armor issues. Afu, in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, he does have the snowball, trying to save him from that one. He is going to end up going over to the creeps, but the catch is going to be there. Rupture was up for no one, but didn't even need to use it.
Ideally, they would have killed the Lycan though, so Afu's still helping his team out there.
Yeah. They are in the area still. Pasha not level 6 yet, and it looks like Bloodseeker is going to head back towards mid, and he has a Hanamitis queued up.
Yeah, he's having a really good time. Blade Mail's not particularly good versus their lineup though, so that's one of the most common Bloodseeker builds. We have seen like a 4-staff rush. Probably don't like that too much too. I don't actually know what build you get. SNY? A lot of times people get Manta Diffusal versus Medusa, but I don't know if that holds a lot of value ever since the Ags.
Yeah. I mean, definitely the Ags build was something that we saw a lot of in the qualifiers for Bloodseeker. The other thing was Radiance, but it's sort of tough to tell what it is. It feels like no matter what, he can just kind of go whatever build he fancies. Bottom lane, Afu ends up finding the kill onto Pasha.
Pasha's level 4, the Lich effect. Like even Doom, who's died a lot of times, is level 6 at least.
Yeah, and he is getting dove here. Ends up dooming the Sand King, and now Afu coming in as well. They are going to be able to cut him off, so Afu, yeah, he ends up helping out his buddy as Inflame's had enough of them diving him.
Pasha's not leaving the lane though. No, your last ranger up.
Yeah. I know, and it's just going to get eaten away too. Yeah, the Lich effect is definitely real right now. Level 6.
Super almost got a kill on no one. Holy cow, that was close. It was 1 hit away.
Did he just overstay and like think that he could?
He tried to heal himself up with blood rage, and then didn't get a last hit, and the super just right clicked him down. So I personally like the Treads or the Phase Medusa more than Treads. Treads is way more damage if you're just standing still, but that's the problem with Medusa. You're standing still too much. You need to move around. You need to be able to farm camps quickly, and the move speed for farming camps and just farming lanes that you get from Phase, I think is worth it over the Treads.
I guess also you can like phase through people. Ooh, nah, I'm not gonna do anything with it. You can phase through people to like, you know, go for catching them with your ulti or something like that. But yeah, 10 minutes in, you see that it's 5 to 5.
Oh, he's going Blade Mail, Medusa.
All right.
Blade, but there's actually a lot of it's damage that you can't control, like Blood Right, for example. You can actually just stand in the Blood Right as Medusa. You don't really care that much. Puck also like has really bad damage control. You can't like not hit Blade Mail targets. It's very hard to. Sand King too. And lastly, Silencer with the Curse. Silencer did just consume the tome, but still not level 6. They're trying to stave off this attack that they predict going to the mid lane. Look at this prediction by VP. They know that a gank is going to happen around mid lane.
Can they actually stop it though? He's going to drop down that Blood right at the start. The ulti has already been used, but they haven't killed off no one. And now with everybody rotating in, Ramsey's here as well. They're going to start dropping. Super trying to back out as well, but they've lost their other 2 supports. And if he can get away, it would all be worth it. But I'm not even sure if that's going to be able to happen. 3 seconds before Wand, not enough.
That would have been a good time to use Scan. They kind of knew something was up on LFY, because the Lich Illusion scouted some heroes, and they were really hesitant about going on No One, but No One did have Strain Treads on, and the Poor Manship. He's quite the tanky beast. But yeah, they were just like, they're probably not there. There's no way that they see this game coming, right? We smoked, we have an Ops Ward on our side, there's no one, we don't see anyone in vision, but joke's on them.
Yeah, now paying for it. And, you know, you're looking at this game and the way that it's developing. You talk about the lack of lockdown that they have on the side of LFY. The big thing is Doom, and he does have it, but Lincoln's is almost up at this point. Not, like, incredibly close, but Ramses has been getting a ridiculous amount of farm. I feel like they need to make something happen on the Weaver.
They can't.
Yeah.
What's the play? How do you actually jump him here? You would have to, like, 5-man, or maybe 3-man snowball, let's say, with a dust, and they would have to have no heroes there, and Global Silence would have to not be up. There's a lot of things that they need, right, to actually go for this Weaver, and they don't know if they have Ward up there. So yeah, they'd have to like 3-man smoke into a snowball without Global up, without the heroes. That's just asking for too many things at once. Just assume he's going to get the Lincolns and try and keep other heroes down, like this Bloodseeker who has no items really currently, just minus Solar attack speed, which is garbage for survival.
Okay. Well, see if LFY can make it happen. Knight has fallen. They're going to run into Lil yet again, block him off with the shards, but Burrow Strike gets him to the other side. Easy peasy for the Sand King.
So we do see the drums build coming out from Doom. So with the double auras up, the Monet having the Vlads and Doom having the drums, I think they can maybe start grouping up and taking towers. They really want this mid tier one. I would say their Roach lineup is like way better than actually Virtus Pro is not bad, but I would say LFY's is still better, and they need to concentrate on taking objectives now because, as we mentioned before, they can't really kill Ramses. So if you can't kill Ramses, you need to do other stuff around the map, and one of the best ways to do that, pressure them through objectives if you have stronger team fight, which I don't actually think is the case now because Solo is level 6.
Yeah, that's always the spooky thing. Obviously, you know, Chain Frost is a great spell and all that, but these heroes are fairly elusive, pretty quick on their feet as well. Hard to make it happen. And Ramses just took that tier 1 tower in the top lane. So we need to figure out some other way for them to do it. VP in the meantime, though, I mean, as far as they're concerned, game's going great, right?
Yes. As long as Bloodseeker doesn't die into whatever item he's going next. So it looks like he's going for SNY. SNY is a nice middle ground. I don't like Manta Diffusal versus Medusa, even though you do burn the mana. I think the Manta illusions just don't have a lot of value versus when you're not versus Silence and when you're not versus, and when she has the possibility of getting Ags. So SNY, I mentioned Blade Mail is not very good here. Force Staff is like so-and-so. Ags I think is more like a second or a third item. So SNY is just good all around in between.
Okay. Well, as a hasted Bloodseeker looking for an opening on the Tusk, wasn't able to find anything on Afu, and it feels like this, you know, early lineup that we had talked about, the pressure that LFY wanted to put on the lanes, it just hasn't quite worked out for them yet.
I would say they lost the early game, even with the Lich. They kept down Puck, but Puck's still like doing okay. He is just farming up with the Soul Ring in these neutral camps, and will have his Blink relatively soon. And then you have the Sand King who just picked up his Blink, and you have no one who demolished Super in the mid lane. So I would say, yeah, that's an overall overwhelming success for Virtus Pro. They were versus Lich. You expect them to be down maybe 1,000 or 2,000 gold right now, and definitely down on experience, but they're up in XP and up in gold. They're on their way to cruise control through the mid game.
And they're up on towers. We're even bringing this tier 2 in the top lane down to about 2/3 HP. It's just Ramses who's been completely left alone, has the Lincoln Sphere being brought out to him right now. And if there wasn't a way to deal with him before, there really isn't now.
Yep, Sand King's in a perfect position too. Oh, they make.
Oh no!
They have a smoke. They didn't see anything though. But yeah, this could be a disaster. Lil is in a perfect position to counter-gank this right now.
And I mean, they just saw right now the Lincolns is there as well. So now going on a solo, the global comes out. They're going to walk into a secondary sandwich. The Burrow Strike epicenter onto 2. It is all fallen apart. Monet ruptured as soon as he went into ulti form. They get the Dream Coil onto 3, but somehow LFY are still staying alive through this. The Chain Frost did a good amount of damage, but they lost the Doom still, and there's not a whole lot else that they're going to be able to make happen as Ramses is going to try and pick apart Afu. He's found him here off to the side. He's going to even think about going further. The Burrow Strike, the Blood Right. Super is in trouble. He pops the Blade Mail, and that might dissuade VP from going any further, but that was a huge disaster there for LFY.
You don't expect the Blink to come out so soon on Virtus Pro. But Virtus Pro have been reading these ganks perfectly, I would say. Like, they predicted both smoke ganks. The one on no one earlier that ended in a 3-for-1, I think. And then this one, well, that was also similarly disastrous. But Lil has just been, like, spot on with these ganks. Just another kill added in the books of Ramses, and they will continue to fall.
Man, as soon as that Lincoln Sphere and Blink Dagger came out together at the same time, it was just like, you know, snap, turn on, run at him. I mean, Ramses is diving under a tower. He doesn't care, and they're going to be able to take this tier 1. And there's just nothing that LFY can do to stop this right now.
Yeah, they're going to have to play the way more defensive game. They try to make 2 aggressive maneuvers with the Doom, but you talked about how he should try and maybe get an initiation item, but I don't think it would have mattered too much if he like went for a blink first. They thought they'd be stronger with all the auras. That's LFY's gameplay. They have the Howl, they have Doom's 2 auras, the drums, and then the Vlads. Like that multiplied by 5 heroes is generally going to overwhelm your opponent at this phase of the game, but they're just slightly too far behind, and looks like Inflame will continue his feedings.
Yeah, this has been a rough one for him. He's going to drop the Doom as well. Sand King is just going to come over and punch him. Actually, might be able to get out with that. That's a nice play.
Oh, wow.
Or not.
God, they had so much damage.
They do so much damage.
Oof. That's rough.
I mean, it was a good idea at least. You know, you
Yeah.
drop the Doom so you don't die, but... Oh, Ben, 17 minutes, 45 seconds in, and it has been an even steeper decline now into the favor of VP. If you're LFY, how do you sort of pull yourself back on your feet after that?
So versus a silencer, generally you want to fight in between globals, but their lineup is actually terrible for fighting in between global because Doom is really long cooldown, so is Stone Gaze. So I don't think that's an option open to them. So what are your other options? Taking Roche out is probably their best option. If they can find any opportunity whatsoever to do Roche, I think they should. I also think they should build a medallion on one of their supports, so because I think that's the only avenue that they can reasonably come back with in the early mid. Because right now, as you mentioned, they can't kill the Weaver. They're getting all their towers pushed down. They can't win the team fight because Silencer is overwhelmingly strong at this moment because they are just slightly ahead. So yeah, I think Roche just split push out. They need to scout with the Wolves. That's actually what they need to do the most, is scout with the Wolves and then outmaneuver Virtus Pro and outfarm them with superior vision.
Yeah, it does feel like it's been much more Monet trying to farm up with the Wolves and you know, get himself into his items quickly, but it's come at the cost of the rest of his team not having as much vision to play around, and now Lil is sort of stalking DDC down here, as well as a couple other heroes in the mid lane, and depending on how this goes, a quick Rupture and Burrow Strike, somebody is most likely going to die. Feels like they can pick off anybody on the map that they want.
The vision has been way better from Virtus Pro too. Solo has had no qualms about dropping many sentries. That fight earlier where Lo was sitting on the high ground, I think they had like 2 sentries placed around that fight before the fight started and during the fight, just to make sure that they would win that fight. And they've been just committing way more into these early team fights with just smokes defensively so they can sit behind heroes and many sentries, so they know how and when to get the jump on LFY.
Super here is going to walk forward, and if he's not careful, like you said, get the jump on LFY.
They want him to jump Medusa.
Okay.
I think that's one way that they win the fight, but I don't think VP are that stupid to just jump Medusa. You jump Medusa, she pops Stone Gaze, everyone runs away, and then you isolate them with shards. I guess potentially you could do it with Global Silence, but Medusa's was one of those heroes that are so tanky that you don't really want to risk being able to kill him.
I mean, 10 wand charges right now as well.
He's in a really bad spot though. This tower is about to fall, so they can't fight without that tower around. They're safe.
Good decision to back out. Keeps him alive. You talked about the Diffuse Blade for Weaver. Does look like that's going to be coming out next.
Yeah, that's a no-brainer build right here.
Yeah.
That build is incredibly good versus their lineup. Like, it's just so much value.
And it really does feel like it's kind of just up to Virtus Pro to go where they want and dictate the tempo.
Inflame has Shadow Blade. I did not know he had that. I guess he got the Devour bonus gold, and this could be a huge move for them.
Oh, the global comes out though. They spotted, I guess, the Tusk in him. Oh, it was the Sentry Ward.
I mentioned that earlier. Solo has just been placing sentries like down non-stop, and it even prevents this like weird case where Inflame doesn't show his
Shadow Blade, and now he's gonna try and get away. Oh no, he's just being pulled all over the place. Nowhere left to go. Inflame is gonna fall. You can see, like, he sticks his arms up in the air. He just wants to doom him, and it's not gonna happen.
Wow. Again, so prepared. 3 smoke ganks, 3 failures by LFY. And I don't know if they were just like super obvious in the ways, in the timing of it, and Virtus Pro just studied the replays really hard yesterday, but whatever the case is, VP's on another level compared to LFY in this game.
And Afu, very low on HP. Does manage to get the snowball off, but to what end? It is going to most likely still be a dead Tusk here. Doesn't even manage to get the Walrus Punch off before he falls into the ground. 5 to 14. VP is just looking so crisp.
Yeah, it seems just... I would say this game... Oh yeah, all they really needed to do was predict the smoke ganks, I would say. That's probably the hardest part. Well, I guess they predicted Doom 2 being up in the trees, so just a lot of small things that they've been doing, just knowing exactly where LFY is, where they're going to make their moves, I think is most important too. That's the thing about some of the laners too. Like Lycan kind of just sits in lane. Occasionally you can like wolf at heroes, but not so much against a puck. And then mid lane is just a Medusa. Medusa has very little kill potential, so they actually have to like run to the lanes to gank them. They don't actually have any like passive pressure from people just being in lanes. I guess a little bit from Lich, but not when you're losing out in CS.
Yeah, and that's the big difference, is that we've seen how much these heroes are even going to run around, and after that tier 1 tower went down in the top lane, Rex is also going to do it. Are they going to be able to sneak this though?
Yeah, the Roche is definitely their play though. Like Roche or sit behind. Oh, DDC, you are in a bad spot, my friend.
Quick jump forward. There's the Dream Coil onto 2. Doom is out. The global is there. No great answer. He is not going to be scouted though, and actually Rupture is already again onto that Lycan. Can they bring him down though? That's going to be a kill onto Ramses, a really key one. That being said, we've also ended up seeing another one go down. Puck ends up falling. Solo is also in a hell of a lot of trouble. Monet's going to be able to TP back home, and somehow, some way, LFY take 4.
Wow. Okay. Well, the one time they didn't have sentries, I can't believe Lich just walked up there and didn't immediately just get blown up. That's what you expect to happen. He gets burst struck, he's just instantly dead. But they were... I think I know what they expected, though. They actually expected a smoke gank from the Lich. Like, normally you don't see a solo support smoke this late into the game, especially when they've blown a few smokes already. They're super valuable, so what they expected was him running up the hill and then like 2 or 3 teammates to go behind him. So they actually wanted to kill the teammates behind him, but there weren't any teammates because they were all sitting down the cliff. So that was a miracle by LFY.
It just seemed so weird. Like, you sort of walk forward, they burrow strike through, and then it's just like the follow-up damage. It was so odd.
Now they have wolves to scout out in case they are trying to roach, and they need to wait for the ulti cooldowns to come back up. And Doom is still very high in net worth. He's 0 and 5, but he is very high in net worth. And okay, yeah, let's see. They're working on it. Let's see if the wolf can scout it out before it dies. It will see. It's... Oh no, I don't think it got vision inside, but they know they're inside right now. Afu.
Guards are there. They're walking forward. They still got Doom. No global, though, for another 30 seconds. Posh up on the high ground. He's going to try and back out again. That mobile ward.
Okay, now they finally get vision of how low Roach is. Now that just means they have to take secure gaze.
Burrow onto 2. They weren't able to get that snowball off in time, and he's silenced yet again. Tusk in trouble is going to drop. The Blade Mill came out from Super.
It's a time to buy back, dude. Afu, man, your team needs you.
Get back in there. I mean, maybe hoping that they can finish off Roche without him. It definitely feels a little bit risky not having him.
They have Stone... Oh my god. They have Stone Gaze. This is such a tense moment.
And Styles there as well. There's the buyback from Tusk. They're waiting for that opportunity to jump in now. And I think that with that buyback, VP, they've got to at least be a little bit afraid. The Swarm does end up getting thrown out. There's the Burrow Strike, and Global comes out at the same time. They've been able to get it. Stone Gaze is still there. Lil coming and trying to steal it. But no, Roche doesn't end up going down. He doesn't have buyback. They end up taking down Rashad, but they actually snatches the Aegis. They were able to get the last hit from Virtus Pro, but it doesn't matter because 3 are dead. Yet again, LFY pulling back.
Dude, Super has had amazing positioning in these fights. Like, it's hard to play Medusa, like stand out as a Medusa, but the where he stands in the fight is incredibly well placed. they couldn't actually go inside the pit. You see how Lil had to like burrow strike past him to go inside the pit, and everyone else was like, I'm gonna get stone gazed if I run in it. We can't actually steal this Roshan. I think it was stolen actually by a bug hit from Ramses.
That's nuts.
Because I saw the maybe Puck right clicked it, but it was one of those two because Puck's burst didn't actually kill it.
Right.
Wow. That was something else.
And LFY now have a little bit of an experience lead. Net worth still slightly into the favor of VP, but with Aegis now online for this Lycan and Necrobook level 3 building towards that AC. Oh no, is Pasha dead? They doom him, they've caught him. They're going to be able to chase it down with some more, and they're just going to end up losing this Puck for free.
Yeah, this Blade Mail zoning too. I think Puck also comboed the Medusa as she Blade Mailed, so he was at like 40% before the fight even started. And the Lycan built...
Ramses?
Another death?
Oh my god, the stomp from Inflame, that was so sick!
Wow.
Alright, shards from Afu, catches him out, they drop the sentry, catch the Walrus Punch, and stomp all at the same time.
Yeah, that is actually crazy how well they're playing right now. This Necrobook I really like too on the Lycan, because he's likely going to get ruptured in the fight. If you're ruptured, you're not going to do any damage, because he's a melee hero, so he needs alternate sources of damage, which is going to come out from his summons. Summons are great on Lycan. You get tons of value from Howl and from Pharaoh Impulse, so the Necrobook also helps a lot versus the Weaver and the Sand King. DDC can actually buy items, Tusk can actually buy items because they don't have to spend a bajillion gold on sentries and dust, or gem.
Man, they have completely turned this game around. I mean, I was ready to call it in and be like, oh man, LFY, one day group stage performance doesn't mean anything, but they are showing why they are top of the group right now.
Yeah, superior team fight. I don't think LFY is ever known for the laning phase. Like, Inflame dies a lot, super, just a static mid laner that gets his farm, and then Monet, you're usually supposed to win your safe lane 3v1 anyways, so like they're not known for their early game. It's the way they take the team fights. Like, the way they sat behind the Lich, too. They didn't make the mistake of following the Lich up the hill. If they did follow up the hill, they would have gotten immediately blown up by the Sand King and Puck and probably lost like 2 heroes. But instead, it's just Lich, and they're like, I don't want to reveal our positioning with the Lich. It could be really bad.
Man, so much intricate stuff going on, and it's come to the tune now of less than 1,000 net worth lead, and LFY very far ahead in terms of the experience. Medusa's sitting on 3.5k gold as well at this point in time. I mean, we've already got that Manta style.
Butterfly or Scotty. I don't think she needs more HP. She's not actually under much duress in these team fights. She's just like, yeah, I can just sit here and just do whatever. If she gets silenced from Puck or from Bloodseeker, you can just Manta out. I saw an unusual build. You see a Shadow Blade and Diffusal. Diffusal Blade, one of the best damage item, or like gold per damage items you're gonna get versus a Medusa. So I can definitely see that. Even though he doesn't have Manta, I still think it's completely fine. The Shadow Blade is the one where I'm a little bit more. I think it's a little bit more peculiar. Trying to figure out his reasoning why.
It's sort of tough too, because like it just makes it feel like with all these teamfight heroes you have on LFY that he's just been so ineffective, and it's just the nature of his hero more than anything, it feels like.
For who?
For the Bloodseeker. Like we haven't, I don't know, he's ruptured the Lycan I guess a couple of times as well, but
yeah, they need they can't really get past this Medusa though. The Medusa is
another Doom came out actually, and they've caught him. The follow-up stomp has been so effective. I really like that choice of taking the Centaur creep.
Yeah, that's actually had incredible value for him. They're also building 2 Lotus Orbs, so you think Bloodseeker was useless before, he's going to be like maybe even more irrelevant now.
Another jump forward. LFY storming the high ground. I mean, just a couple of minutes ago we were talking about what they had to do to stay relevant in this game, and now they're sieging this high ground. Monet with the Aegis. It's going to expire in 15 seconds, so they don't want to take a fight and have that expire in the midst of it. Monet down very low. They're not even focusing him for the moment. The tower looks to be falling, and he is going to end up dropping. Coming back, though, in just a second. That Aegis. Shards to keep him alive. Super pops the ulti. Now needs to get out. Maybe in a little bit of trouble. Everybody's TPing back home. Epicenter comes through. They might end up actually sacrificing Super here, but the rest of the team gets out.
Super for 2 buybacks, and they got the T3, so shrines are open, and immediately Virtus Pro want to respond. They want to create this chain feed situation, or at least get some value out of the buybacks. I don't think... I mean, they defended a They defended their Rex and got a Medusa kill, but I don't think that's enough, especially when Roshan is not up. Well, DD on bottom, this could be their power play right now. These Lotus Orbs are going to be very problematic too. Like the Diffusal Blade on the Bloodseeker, the Diffusal Blade on the Weaver, these will hurt a decent amount. Take off the Global Silence on Silencer, take off the Silence from Puck. Like, Silence is largely irrelevant, and they don't need BKBs to deal with it, which is even better.
Yeah. It's all coming up LFY right now.
They itemized for mass auras though. I think that's where this game really turned around and was deceptive. Like LFY, they were way lower on net worth, but because they have all these items that are multiplied by 5, the Necronomicon aura, the Howl, the AC now, the Vlads, the drums, there's just so many things that are multiplied by 5 that it's deceptive how strong they are despite being 5,000 net worth, right? You're still getting, Vlads, you're probably getting 6,000 net worth out of that item, out of a 2,000 net worth item. Lich isn't really getting the lifesteal, for example, so kind of
yeah. Well,
throw those aside.
Yeah,
the armor is good.
So I'm looking at this too now for VP, and it feels like the game has really fallen out of their hands. It's still tier 2 towers down in mid and bottom, but how do you win a team fight? What's that dream fight look like for Virtus Pro at this point?
Okay, because the Medusa is so important to the team fight on both sides. You firstly have to evaluate whether or not you can kill her before she pops her Stone Gaze. And in this case, I don't think it's possible. They simply do not have enough damage to kill her quickly. Even if she gets Blood Rage at the start, I don't think they can kill her before she mantas and Stone Gazes. So, because that's not an option for Virtus Pro, you have to bait out the Stone Gaze. The Stone Gaze makes it impossible for anyone to really kill anyone who's really close to the Medusa without self-inflicting lots of damage as a result of getting stoned. So you have to bait out the Medusa to ult. So that means you need to feign a go on the Medusa. But the problem with that is they Super, he got jumped last time. They tried to bait out the Stone Gaze to kite and then re-engage, but Super actually did not bite. He didn't Stone Gaze the first time at the Roach fight. I think that was also incredibly important for them to win the fight.
Well, they're going to go on Super yet again, and as you said, it's going to be very hard.
He doesn't Stone Gaze. That's the thing. He's really smart about when he uses it. He's doesn't use it until the moment he needs to the most. But now he's getting epicentered.
Yeah, we'll see if they're going to be able to take him down. As of yet, still so freaking strong. They finally drop it. Global comes out to follow, but just look at the amount of damage that's coming out. No one wants to get out, and they do lose 2 for that.
He is so incredibly patient. See, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Okay, can they jump the Medusa? They know that they can't. They know that they actually can't kill him, but they still feign a go, okay? Then he's at 80% with Blood Rage, and then he goes down to 65%, and then he's at 60%, and then that little devil starts creeping into your mind, maybe we can kill him before he Stone Gazes. But his entire team's behind him. He pops a stick, he pops his Manta, he pops Stone Gaze, and then everyone just dies. The guy is just incredibly patient with his ultimate. He knows that that's the only way Virtus Pro win a fight. It's crazy.
LFY understanding what they need to do to win this game, and we'll see if they can make it happen. With Stone Gaze on cooldown for 40 more seconds, there might be an opportunity here. They immediately rupture, going to go after Inflame. The rest of LFY thinking about going in. The snowball save, though, it's able to get him away from the rest of those Virtus Pro heroes. Inflame alive, standing tall.
Wow, that was a sick snowball. Yeah, rupture down. Okay, that's great. And now they can just wait for Roche. And okay, so let's see what is not going to be up for this Roche fight. I think everything's going to be up. Yep. And to think about BKBs too, which I see no one going for, it's useless versus Doom and useless versus Stone Gaze. So he needs it so he doesn't get owned by Chain Frost and all these myriad of spells that they're going to be thrown at him. But versus the main spells in the team fight, it's not going to actually help him out that much.
Well, Solo is still standing here in the mid, and they're trying to do their best. They can push out lanes really effectively on the lineup, but it does feel like they're sort of lacking in other areas. And, well, Doom ends up getting dropped now. It's caught onto the Sand King yet again.
Yeah, him. They were just silent too in that early phase of the game where oh man, it's looking bad for LFY. They were super silent. I didn't realize that Doom was farming the entire time with plus 80 Devour bonus gold.
Right.
And that is also a sign of a useful offlaner, one that can get shut down early, like Inflame did, and still have a ton of impact in forwards. And Like he's almost keeping up with the Midas Bloodseeker, who was top CS early in the game. This Roche is just done for. There's no chance. So I still think they give it to Monet. Super also went for Butterfly too. You remember how you asked what is he going to get next with this gold? He could have gone for Scotty or Butterfly. Scotty, you don't actually do enough damage. So then the way Virtus.pro win the team fight is actually just ignoring the Medusa and killing everyone else. That also happens to be built too defensively, but he went for the offensive item so they don't have that option available to them. If you just ignore the Medusa, she'll kill all of you. So he also balanced the damage and the defensive aspect very, very well. Mjolnir Weaver.
Yeah, he ended up going for that one next and going for the Butterfly afterwards. Again, it feels like they just don't want to take the fights yet and push out those lanes. I noticed this also, the Doom keeping the Ice Armor up, so stacking with the Frost Armor from Lich. That is a ridiculous amount of armor. As Puck? No? Gonna get the blink away. Do they scout him out? The answer is no. He's gonna head down and get himself back home.
He just took a Doom Devour Ancients, or Doom can Devour Ancients talent, so he will...
Ooh, Frenzy probably.
Yeah, well, Frenzy is the one that he's going to look at right now, but I think he usually takes Golem.
Okay. It's about as much as an Alacrity as far as attack speed is concerned. Pretty good. But we'll have to watch and see, how they end up using this. It definitely feels to me like it sort of super stands up on high ground, hits the tower, and just tries to stay tanky. Sort of like we've seen Envy play it.
There's no tower though. You can just hit the T3.
I guess that's true too.
Or
yeah.
hit the racks rather. He might want to wait for another item though. He has a lot of gold right now. 3,300 on the Medusa with Aegis. You can buy out without really worrying about it. Like if you die twice, you probably already lost the game anyways. But let's see, what item should he get? Maybe does he want a Scotty? Scotty's just generally pretty good. His other options are Bloodthorn, Daedalus,
Rapier.
Scepter Rapier. Yeah, I think I like Scotty the most out of all. But let's see, here they go.
Yeah, moving up. They've got Sand King that's cutting the creep wave off to the side, and still Silence. Gonna pop out that Blade Mail, and there is nothing that they can do. They throw all the auras onto him. A little bit of extra attack speed as well from that Ancient that he devoured, and they're done.
They're going for that aura quest, dude.
That's amazing. I feel like we've seen a lot of teams going for that aura quest. Let's see how long he waits to pop his ultimate. Still hanging on to it for the moment. He's down to so little HP. He just walks away.
They're probably like, why won't this guy pop his ultimate? They're probably so frustrated right now. Like, he's like so low that they can taste killing him, but it's also just the devil's calling them. Yeah, and Aegis. That's just one more thing for them to worry about. It's like, okay, so now Stonegate and Aegis, but he does have a lot of gold, and they did catch out Doom.
Oh, and look at the discipline. LFY backing out yet again. He pops his BKB to try and run away. As I talk about discipline, but LFY, they don't want any part of it. They're just going to retreat. A death is not an initiation, as somebody smart once said.
I do see Super.
No. Puck is going to walk away now. It's not the play to go.
Oh, I want to see what item he buys. He has a lot of gold, 5,000. But now he's in that territory where he could potentially die with Aegis and not, or die without Aegis and not have buyback because it's been that long. So Lotus Orb number 2 completed. Tusk was working on this since that first Roshan fight, but he had a buyback, so it stunted his growth a lot. Woof woof.
They want to go, they want to run, they want to fight, and Lil is going to be the one that they find. Abyssal, or rather...
Walk up to an Abyssal Blade. Dang.
And now he's just going to get bashed up. No one, he just died! There's no answer. Holy crap, Monet is big.
I don't think anyone was Blood Rage that fight either. That was ridiculous how not tinky.
Yeah, that's a rough one. I mean, I guess that comes back to the Shadow Blade, and like he went into this BKB, so survivability aimed around like magic.
Yeah, I wasn't sure about the Shadow Blade, but 3 birds with 1 stone with a Necro Book, right?
Yeah.
The Shikuchi, the Shadow Blade, and the Sandstorm on the Sand King. So I actually think it's the Necro Book decision that did a lot for them in the early game. Like it was the item that allowed them to threaten the Roche and won them the Roche fight.
Yeah. It feels like LFY just had like a very clear game plan. They never really felt that worried, I guess.
No, they were definitely worried.
You think so? Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Their early game was really poor. Medusa probably had half the CS of Bloodseeker, I would say. Monet was having a good time, but you expect him to have a good time. And then Inflame was dying. He died at the start. He didn't have level 2 for a really long time. Gave away a fair amount of int, but Rax number 2.
All right, Frenzy on Medusa. Look at that attack speed. Burrow Strike connects onto 2, but what are you really going to do? There's not a whole lot of answers.
They killed the summons, though, with the Mjolnir, so that's actually pretty important. They killed both summons.
Toss them a glyph, and Inflame just keeps walking forward as well, ready to take this fight. But they will be forced back, at least for the moment.
Yep. I wonder if Monet is going to give the cheese to Medusa. I think they actually should. Or let her complete her Scotty. She's still pretty close. Maybe sell Aquila, give her the Scotty, and then give her the cheese. I think she needs a
Lil, oh man, they force out the global. Afu is just going to be able to back out of this for the moment, though, and they can't chase, so they had to use that global to save Lil, and it ends up coming back to bite him.
They are no supers, man. They don't hold out on those ultimates.
Oh, I mean, you can feel the frustration almost from the VP side. Like, they were so far ahead, you know, at the early stages of this game, and now just wanting to find something to dig their teeth into.
They can still win. I think what they need to do now is to double silence the Medusa. So you use one silence to bait her out of Mancer, and then you immediately silence her, and then you kill her teammates in the back line. I think, especially with a mobile hero like Weaver and Bloodseeker who can run fast if you get the jump on the fight, I think that's their play here.
And Pasha, he's in no man's land, and
that's a gem.
All right, well, 77 seconds, no puck. It's feeling like Mega Creeps are in the works potentially. They end up taking down the Radiant Courier at the very least, but the Tier 3 tower already down, and now the Rax, and now they caught Ramses. Now he's doomed. He's trying to get out of there. What's Sakuchi for the extra movement speed? But they are all falling apart. No buybacks. GG, well played, called.
That's the... Woof. If you think that Medusa can't be played well, you watch this game, and you watch Super and how he had a crummy early game and pulled them through when they were in a huge deficit with not that many items. And yeah, Super is just rock solid on that mid laner. And he is just that kind of player, like the DK, the Medusa player, the heroes that like you think aren't that high skill cap, but the way he presses his button, the way he held out, it's like he probably unbound his Stone Gaze key at that point. Oh my god.
He is super good. All right, game number 2 right around the corner as we take a moment to process the terribleness of that pun. LFY versus VP. Going to be coming back in just a few minutes here on the B stream. See you guys in just a few.